So what is up, guys? You got your boy Stingren here today, and today we're back with some more Aether Gazer content here today, and today we're going to be doing a guide here today, and that is going to be talking about the Sigil system. Now, I wanted to talk about the Sigil system because it's one of the most important things about building your character in this entire game, hands down. You're gonna want to know what the Sigil system is and how it works and how it benefits your character going forward. So let's go ahead and talk about it, and let's talk about the key things that you should know about your sigils, all the core concepts when it comes to enhancing, rolling your rolling passives and everything. We're gonna go through the entire 9 yards with you, because that way, if you do come across this video, for the few of you that do watch, and I appreciate all of you, then you can at least have a better understanding of what the sigils are doing. Anyway, let's get right into it. Go to a modifier, and we're gonna just pick a random character. We're just gonna go and go to our hell, and then we're gonna click over to the sigil section. Now, you may notice that the sigils are set up in a very specific way. It's not just 1, 2, 3 of the same set and 1, 2, 3 of the same set. I'll talk about that because that's actually very, very important. Now, one thing you want to automatically know just out of the gate is what should you run on your character? What is the set you're gonna want? Thankfully, the game has a very, very good way to basically tell you. You click the change button and you click recommended sigils, and it tells you exactly what you should get for the late game. Now, of course, you can, it doesn't matter if it's like economy or late game. It's basically the same set. It's just basically telling you, hey, this is what you want when you're done building your character. This is going to be what it gives you, the exact placement and the exact reasoning. And I'm going to tell you, this is actually a very important thing, because the placement of your sigils actually does mean something. A lot of people are like, I can't just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Certain builds you technically can, but not all builds. Most builds are either going to follow a 1 through 5 of the set or 2, 4, 6. Of course, if that character is Omega, then obviously that does not apply. That is actually different, because Omega characters only need 2 of the individual sigil set to activate its effect. So you can just run something like this, and then you can do a little bit different, just kind of pick between the best of the sets. So that's that. Anyway, let's talk about why sigil placements is important. Sigil placements are important because all sigils 4-star and above will give you a bonus skill effect when you level it up to a certain point. So when you unlock a certain point of the level, once you get it past like level 30, level 40, then you unlock a skill effect. And these skill effects can be placed right here. As you can see, this level 1 of this shadow set gives me fierce attack and shadow blessing, right? That's good, because I want my hell to obviously be a DPS. If I go over here to this level of this number 2 of this philosopher fantasy, so you can see fierce assault, normal attack up. That's good. However, you don't just want to go 1, 2, 3, because a lot of the times when you go to the shop and you can see what these do, a lot of the times they don't give you the most proficient things. So for example, we're going to go back to the shadow set and we're going to kind of talk about it. So let me find it really quick. Here it is right here. So if I were to just do, I had to do 5-star. If I were to just do the 1, 2, 3, and I say I'm gonna take the level 2. What's the worst that can happen? I'm gonna get the set passive, right? But look at the bonus skill effects: HP and non-DOT damage to elite and bosses. That's not very good. You don't want to get the not good passives. I mean, obviously, if you have to squeeze it in because it's an Omega build, because you have to kind of pick between the two, then okay. But for the most part, you want to go for the ones that's always going to give you the best benefit. For example, we go back to the same set, right? And we go back to number 3, which is the next piece over. Look at that. Skill damage, skill damage. That's good. You want skill damage, obviously, for hell, because again, cannon build goes Burt. You guys have seen that video. And then 4 is defense and damage taken reduction, which is not very good at all, because again, if you wanted to be a DPS, you're going to want to excel in DPSing. That's generally the rule of thumb there. So that is why you do want to be well aware of what pieces you're picking, and that's why placement matters. Placement matters in an effect of you're going to want to get the best of the best for those things. So make sure you are well aware of what you are picking when it comes to these type of things, because you don't want to be in a situation where you pick something and then your character's not doing the job that you want to do. So there's that. So make sure you always pick the most important of the pieces. Just look at all of them and then just kind of go from there. Again, there is a CN spreadsheet that actually does recommend some builds that's not listed on the game. And I do actually want to give credit to Vin. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, but he is a day one CN player who actually manages the spreadsheet for all characters that's coming out in global. And he actually makes builds for all of them, and he even gives you code recommendations as well. So if you're not really sure what codes you want to run as well, please give credit to that. Please give credit to him and check out his spreadsheet, because the spreadsheet is actually very helpful. It's actually giving me insight on what builds I should run as well, because sometimes I might want to be a little bit fancy with my builds. But anyway, there's that. So now that you've got your pieces and you want to start leveling them, that's great. Getting up to 1 to 40 is, depending on how much resources you have, that's not really the big thing. That's not really the big change that needs to happen. Now we need to focus on further improving the set. Now you notice here that we have an extra amount of stats being given here. As you can see, I had 2500 HP plus 500, and I had 225 attack plus 45. Where is this plus stat coming from, you might add? Is it because we matched the 3 together? No, that's not true. We have to go to cultivate, and we have to go about reconstructing the set. Now, whenever you get a set and you are satisfied with that set, you can go to start to reconstructing them to get a stat increase based on that modifier's gen zone. Now, we know that Hell is a Yggdrasil user. You see that little flower, that little tree thing right there, whatever Yggdrasil symbol is. You see the Yggdrasil symbol right there. So that is your indicator that you should be rolling for that character's gen zone. So if whatever character you ever want to work on, you can roll this for a 20% boost. However, if you want to take it to the next step, you can go to clarifying reconstruction, which I recommend you only do after you get the initial gen zone roll. For example, my 20% in Yggdrasil, that's done. Now I can go to clarifying, use 20 of these, and then I can double this boost from 20% to 40%. That is a bigger boost. Obviously, that's going to be a lot more power, and that's going to be able to be done across the sets. However, once you do this, it is now locked to that gen zone set only. So that means if I go for the 40% on my Hell, that means only Yggdrasil users will only be able to use this set. Now, do I recommend that you chase the 40%? Now, I would say yes, but I also say no. And the reason why I'm not agreeing and saying that you should chase the 40% out of the gate is because a lot of the times when these new patches come out, new sets come with these patches. Whenever there's a new character, 9 times out of 10 is going to be a new Sigil set that goes with it, and that is somewhat of a projective buff to another character. So for example, if I were to take 40s of these to my Hell, and then yet another set, which I think another one does come out better, that's actually better for her later on down the line, and I want to change to that new set to make her better, that means I'm going to have to consume more resources. So for the time being, until we get like the final builds for things, I don't really recommend you want to take units to the full 40 slot. I don't think you do. I think you just either you hold on to the 20. I recommend you get the 20 above all else, but hold on before you get the 40. Because if you are looking to see what's gonna happen in the future of like when we get the CN stuff and all that, just hold on, because that is going to be the key thing that you want to do, because you don't want to be put in a situation where you as the player can kind of be stuck when having to invest more than what you need to invest, is what I'm trying to say. So there it is. There's this stat. Now let's talk about the next big thing about powering up your character, and that is your set bonus, your skill effect bonuses. Now your skill effect bonuses are a combination of all 6 of these plus an additional two passives that you can roll. Now this is kind of the system that I'm not the biggest fan of. I'll talk about where you can farm all of this stuff and everything once I'm done talking about the key concept of the guide. But anyway, we're gonna go back to cultivate and we're gonna go to enchant. Now when you go to enchant, you can use one of these to generate a random passive. And of course you want to go for the best passive that's available to you. Now let's talk about the best way to get the best rolls of what you can get for your character, right? If you were to try to roll the best of what you can possibly roll for a character, the recommended strat is this: use all of your purples to try to get a good top stat. That is the first important thing, right? Is you want to go for purples, get a good top, whatever you want, whether it's berserk, it's fierce assault, skill damage, whatever you feel like you really want on that character, that's completely up to you. But for the most general recommendation, if you're going DPS, it's usually triple eights, which is 8 on fierce assault, 8 on berserk, and 8 on enraged. That's typically what you want for your DPSs, but we'll just use that as the skeleton, right? So if I say, okay, I want to really get my triple 8 in attack, or my single 8 in attack, I should say. If I get my first assault roll, you could then lock this passive, right? And then you can then proceed to use these to roll into a different passive while keeping this passive. Now you could just completely spitball it and just throw the 15 in there and see what could possibly happen, because you might actually get a good double roll off the single. You might. But if you want to just keep that fierce assault, you do this and then you go as many times as you need until you get a good bottom or whatever it is that you might feel like is at least useful. Now me, I am a little bit jaded on this system because I actually had a pretty bad experience of leveling. Of course it's all RNG, so I might just have to get over it. It might just be definite skill issue on my end. But I wasn't a fan of having to roll triple eights for my Scotty, which I actually didn't even get to do because I rolled like, I think it was like over 1,000 of these and I did not get a single one, which is pretty savage. But it is what it is. I talk about where you can farm these as well, and I talk about where you can buy some from a reoccurring dream as well. But anyway, that's gonna be the one key thing. The one key thing is you want to try to just get as close as optimal as you can get. Even if you have to take a not so good bottom stat, for example, at least you got the good top. So that means at some point in time you can always come back and then try to roll for that good bottom. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think for people that are just trying to start into the system should immediately go into getting the best of the best of the best and beat themselves up over it. I think it's well worth that you just simply want to take something that's at least decent and make it work. As I said before, my Hell has been doing fantastic, well, despite her not being Triple H. She doesn't have to be Triple H right now. So for example, that means I can take my other pieces and start working on other characters. That way I have a little bit more flexibility and not be stuck on just one character. So there's that. But that is generally just about it with everything when it comes to the set system. Now we'll be talking about where you can farm most sets. I will be talking about some places where you can buy, because specific ones are not able to be bought or farmed. I mean, specific ones are not able to be farmed, but they can be bought. So let's talk about that before we get out of here. But anyway, so what we do here is we go over to operations and we go over to sigils, and then boom, this is where you'll be able to farm your sigil piece set. So whatever set you want to ever farm that's in this category can be farmed here. So for example, I wanted to farm Virgo's Meteor because I wanted to get it ready for Hera. I can go boom, farm Virgo's Meteor, hit confirm. Make sure you hit confirm, because I've had a few times where I've been on another set and it didn't confirm. So make sure you hit confirm, and then you go to the stages you can do the furthest. Obviously you want stage 5 because that's your best chance to get 4-star pieces, and then you go from there. Next one I want to talk about is where you can farm modules. Modules can be farmed here. Now the thing about this one is it doesn't really matter what stage you do here. It doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters in this particular case is the amount of stamina that you will consume. So for me, I would only recommend that you farm A and S rank stages, because that is the most That's the most like small use of your stamina that you can get. I mean, granted, if you're gonna be doing sigil farming, you're gonna be farming this for quite a bit of time, especially if you're not looking to refresh any of your stamina. So the best thing you can do is simply just do S or A. S or A. Don't do B's because that's like 200. I mean, granted, it's going to be a nice EXP for you, but that's still a lot of stamina. And that's essentially only one run a day. So, yeah, or a little bit over because you still have the stamina refills you can get. But anyway, and then of course you can use these to farm for revelations. I really ever don't use these because I don't ever really need to farm these. I've never not really need to farm them, but again, if you ever need some, just come here to farm. That's really just it. That's why I'm still like level 2, because I don't ever need to farm these when I level up my sigil sets, because I always have so many. But anyway, let's talk about certain sets that need to be ran, but you only can buy them. If you go over to your shop menu, you go to trading zone, and then you go to sigil shop. These are only the ones that cover the special ones, right? Or the regular ones. The regular ones that can be farmed in shop. So if you ever get like a bad 5-star that's not the one, you can sell them. You can sell them for the cores, and then you can get the pieces that you need, which is actually very good. That means you don't have to spend so much stamina trying to get a perfect of a 135 or 246. However, I believe if you go over to the resource shop, you can go to the hazard zone cleaning shop. And this is for the ones that are going to be like different other sets like Hippocratic Oath, you know, Nibelai, you know, certain characters do run this, so make sure you are well aware that these cannot be farmed in the regular sigil farm stages. These are just strictly only able to be gained in hazard zone. Hazard zone does refresh quite frequently, so make sure you are on top of getting as much as you can get for the resource, and then you can just buy out the pieces like that. So there's that. But yeah, for the most part, you're gonna be there. Also, if you are able to do reoccurring dream to a good enough point, you can get sigil modules here. I do recommend only after you get Gen A though. Get Gen A first because it's a free S rank, get her. But if you want to farm these, by all means, get them here, and then you can get more and you can have more chances to roll for your characters. So I think that might just be what I might end up doing after I get my Gen A, of course. I'll get my Gen A, and then I'll start to farm these, and then I'll just proceed to just work on it. I'll just proceed to just do the best that I can to try to roll for you know, optimal artifacts. But I think that generally covers just about everything that we need to explain about sigils and what you should do. The general guideline between all the characters you should be building is you should always try to go for the best of what you can do. All characters particularly want Fierce Assault 8 at the minimum. DPSs of course want the crit rate, crit damage buff, but you can go a little bit more flexible with other characters of course, but again, it's completely up to you. But that's generally just it. Make sure you guys are just being very well aware of what's coming, what's happening, and make sure you do proceed to go accordingly. Again, I say just grab the 20% because again, sets will change and you're gonna want to have at least more reconstructors available, so that way you can do that. But anyway, I think that should cover just about everything. If you have any further questions, let me know in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.